Hi guys, it's Marianne, and I'm here today with a quick all about tutorial. July's all about is flowers, making and using flowers in creative ways. So what I want to get you thinking about different substances, materials, compositions of things that you can use to make flowers, because you can use almost anything, and we're so used to just thinking of the traditional way we know things, and that's that. And if we don't have that on hand, well, then we can't do it. But it's not true. You can grab literally any kind of paper and many other substances and make flowers out of them. So today I'm going to show you how to make this super easy and super quick flower out of dress pattern. You don't even have to be able to sew to be able to use that dress pattern, and that's stuck in my Band-Aid there. Okay, so these are all out of dress pattern. Everything from a teeny tiny one. You could make a bunch of these and you could put them on a scrapbook page and draw the stems down there. You could make a really cute card out of these. You could use those in junk journals. This one, I put velvet heart in the center, but then grunged it up a bit. So it's looking a little grungy. And then this gold one, did some additional gold on the center because that was a very vintage button, and so a lot of the gold was very worn and not shiny. And then a little bit of gilding around the edges there. And these two actually are a Band-Aid, a button inside of a button. So the little zebra stripe thing was a button, and then the larger one was just a pretty plain button. So I just glued the one button inside the other, and then used a little Nouveau Mousse around the edges to just give it a little bit of color on each of those. And this one is, both of these actually are straight dress pattern with nothing on it to embellish it, nothing to change it, to color it. This is just exactly how it comes out when you make it. Excuse me. And then with a button in the center as its centerpiece. So let me show you how to make these. They are super easy and super quick. All you need is a dress pattern. So get it, or and I say I say dress pattern. Boy, sorry, I don't know where I got that frog in my throat. I say dress pattern, but it doesn't have to be a dress. It can be a pattern of anything, from anything. In fact, see, this is a shirt pattern, so it doesn't matter. Just pattern, just pattern paper. That's all we're going for here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line up the edges and make sure that it's kind of folded together. And I'm going to fold it in half again because this paper is so thin, and I could stack it up and then cut through a whole bunch of layers together because it's so thin. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Instead of cutting and trying to cut, really long and make a long, even strip, I'm going to stack that up and cut it. Now, I did notice one piece that was kind of sticking way out above the others, but now I don't see it, so I obviously folded it in. So not a big deal. If it shows itself later, we can fix that. And they don't even have to be exact. Because honestly, you don't want your flower to be perfect and exact. The flowers in the world aren't perfect and exact. All right, so these are about 3.5 inch in diameter flowers. All of these large ones are about 3.5 inch in diameter. And then this little guy is about 2 inches in diameter. So in order to get a 3.5 inch diameter flower, I need a 3.5 inch strip. And a 2 inch diameter, I need a 2 inch strip. So I'm just going to flatten this. And I didn't do a great job of folding those all together. And I do want this one kind of together. So I'm going to lay this down. Actually, let's just get our 3.5 inch strip first. So I've got this on here that I can just look and see where it's at and cut a 3.5 inch strip. But if you didn't, you could take a ruler, mark 3.5 inches here, 3.5 inches there, and then just cut across side to side. But I'm just going to hold this right here, take my scissors. It doesn't even have to be exact measurement. If it's 3 inches, fine. If it's 4 inches, fine. In fact, you can make these flowers as big or as small as you want based on how wide you make that. Now, while we're here, I'm going to cut a 2 inch strip so we can make a little one. Make some more of the little guy. A teeny tiny flower. Yeah, you can make them any size you want. These just happen to be what I did, and they're kind of a nice size, so we'll just duplicate them just to show you what I did. This has some that are hanging way out. I'm going to kind of sort of trim those off just because, although I will show you that I didn't trim those off on here. And see how it's kind of longer here, it's a little bit longer right there, it's shorter right there. And I mean, it just really looks like a flower does, not perfect. Okay, so now I've got this strip. It's a 3.5-inch strip. It's a long strip, and that will do 2, because I know I folded the pattern in half. I know it will do 2, and so I'm just gonna cut this strip in half. And the way I'm gonna do that, just line up the edges, fold it. You know, it doesn't even have to be perfectly centered where it's exactly half, doesn't matter. You know, because that tiny bit of pattern paper on one or the other doesn't make any difference. Okay, so now I've actually got 2 flowers out of this one. And I'm going to do, boy, I don't know how that frog got in my throat tonight, but he's here setting up camp. All right, I'm going to do the 2-inch one at the same time. And you could do mass production on these if you wanted to make a whole bunch of them. You just cut a whole bunch of 3-inch strips and then fold them all in half and cut them all in half. And then you've got your strip to work with. And the next step puts the whole thing together. It's that easy. Not kidding you. If you've always felt like you have trouble making some of the things, this is one of those super easy. All right. Now, here's the rocket science part. This is the really tough part. So watch very carefully. You're going to hold it right here, and you're going to use these fingers, and you're just going to gather it up. Did you catch that? Rocket science, huh? See how tough that is? This is even one that you could do with your kids or your grandkids, you know, any little person. So I'm going to hold it in the middle, and I'm just kind of opening the end and just making sure that the ends are fanned out. Not fanned out that way, just not crumpled up, because as I crumpled the center, some of the ends, you know, tend to just crumple with it, and that's just fine, because I'm going to straighten them out right here. Okay, so those are all straight, so I'm going to bring them back together, and I'm going to check this side. I kind of fold over, crumple in. I just pull them out straight. Come on little guy, there we go. Okay, all right, those are all out straight. Now look at that one end sticking way out there. Is that the very end, and is the other side way in? It is. It's just kind of, may not have been cut exactly straight, because the end that was there, the edge that was there, may not have been exactly straight, and that's okay. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So one end over to make it a little more even. So if it was way out this end, I just pulled it over a little bit. You know, I mean, it really honestly doesn't matter. If you wanted that to be perfectly centered, you could, and then you could just trim off that little part that was sticking out. Not a big deal at all. Okay, so here's our flower. Now how are we going to turn it into the round flower? I'm pulling it all together because it's a little easier to work with when it's just all squished together. I need a piece of thread. Forgot to grab one, but I've got pink sitting here because I used that on something earlier. It doesn't even matter what color it is. Honestly, it doesn't even matter, because it's not going to be seen at all. I'm going to double this thread just because I pulled on one and it broke on me. And I don't know if I just pulled it too hard or if it was just really old thread. Don't know. But all I'm going to do, don't know if you can see the thread, but if you can't see the thread, trust that I have it in my hands right here. Have it in my fingers. I'm going to put my crunched up pattern on the thread, and I want the thread to be right in the middle, and I'm going to just start to tie a knot. And as I bring it in here, I'm going to see that it's really not centered, so I'm going to move it over to the center as I tighten it up. There we go. That's pretty centered. If I don't like it where it is, if I think it's not quite centered enough, then I can push it over just a little bit more and then tighten it up. And then once I've got it tightened, I will just tie one more knot. And that's that. I mean, that's literally all that is. Okay, clip it off close because that thread is not even going to be seen. Hi, honey. And so now you just take this and fan this out on both sides. Run your fingers through here, fan it out. Now, this is really interesting because as even as we had it, you saw that it was even all the way down. Look how much bigger it is right there. And it seems to be the only place that it is. But this is folded over, so let me get that open first. I want to get them all going out there the right direction. Okay. And we're just making that circle. We're just making that circle like there. All right. Now, this part that's sticking out, I can say, all right, I don't want it to stick out like that. And it's the only place that's bigger than anything else. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to trim a little bit at it. And I'm kind of careful not to, you know, do the whole thing at once so it's one perfect trim all the way across, because flowers aren't like that. Flowers aren't perfect like that. Petals are different lengths and you know, just kind of really natural. So you saw that I just made a little clip and then made another little clip. Okay, so there it is. There it is, literally. Move this one away. Let's grab our 2-inch strip. We're going to do, not the thread, we're going to do the same thing with the 2-inch strip. This one's a lot smaller, so we'll just carefully grab it and pull it all together. Now, the longer your strip is, the thicker your flower is going to be, because there's more pattern paper there to bunch up in a smaller space. The shorter your strip is, the thinner it's going to be, because you don't have as much pattern paper to spread. Okay, so I'm going to squish it together really good because it makes it a little easier. Let's see if one of these leftover pieces, oh, I think that'll work. If I can keep that one together, I think it'll work. And maybe, let's see, is that kind of in the center right there? Maybe I can put my scissors on it and weigh it down. Maybe that will work. Because the little ones tend to fly away easier. And if the air conditioner turns on or you have a ceiling fan turn on, pattern paper loves to fly. Okay, let's see if it's centered. No, it needs to go this way just a little bit. Back that way. That's pretty centered. Well, kind of, sort of. Okay, there we go. Tie that up tight, and then we're going to put one knot in it, or one more tie that makes it a knot. That's all we need to do. Boom, there it is. You need flowers quickly for decoration. You can whip them up like this with any paper. Okay, then we're just going to open it. And our thread broke. All right, let's see, what have we got? That one's not long enough. What's this one? Ooh, kind of short, but let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. Let's see if I can hold it down with my fingers. And tie it once, centered. Yep, that's pretty good. And tie it twice. Let's see. I shouldn't do that. I should just make it a square knot, huh? Okay. Come on. The smaller they are, the more difficult they are to work with. I will say that. Teeny tiny things take very careful fingers. And my original one keeps opening up. And one is way long and one is way short. But it's okay, we'll get it. We shall conquer this thread. There we go. All right. Maybe I cut it off too short before. It's not going to show. Okay, let's just open this up. around. And be careful when you're opening up that you're not just pulling it this way, because then you're pulling against the thread. But you can really just hold this in the center of the thread and pull these little guys out. I like the side that has the markings on the pattern. I like that to be my up side, the side I'm going to see. I like those markings. You could just even take like Distress ink and go around this with Distress ink. Now see, this has one little spot too that's a little bit longer, but if I look over here, this one's a little bit longer, and that one's a little bit longer. So really kind of sort of looks pretty natural. Just a tiny bit too long maybe, so I'll just cut a little bit. But then I'm just going to kind of leave those little longers because they look pretty natural. Except it keeps sticking to my Band-Aid. All right, so now for a center, let's see. I've always got some buttons floating around. What do I have here? I've always got some buttons floating around my desk from something. I just did. There's a green. Let's take a look at these. Here's another green. That's almost too big. I really liked that one. I think I have another one. I'd have to dig it out though. Nah. There's an orange. And there's a pink. What's over here? Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this cute little daisy. Sunflower. That's not a daisy. That's a sunflower. That's really cute. But it's very bland. Not very bright at all. So let's get a little bit of color. So maybe we use this green one here. And we use pink or green there. I do kind of like that pink. It's very, very pretty. Yeah, I like pink. Let's go for the pink. Okay, all we're going to do is glue that on. And to do that, we're just going to use Fabri-Tac because it holds everything and anything well, very well, very, very well. Permanent, and it is quick drying, very strong. So I'm just going to press that in the center. Glue coming up the holes, the buttonholes. You could sew it on. You can take a needle and thread and sew through those buttonholes. You could do that if you want. I kind of like to use the ones that have the buttons that have a shank on them for this, because then I don't have the holes. I don't see the holes. And it looks like it is sewn on, because I really don't, I want these to be quick and easy. I don't want to sew them on. But like this one has the shank here, but the shank is really in the way. So I would just take like a pair of these wire clippers right there, and I'd put it right on like that, and I'd cut that right off. I'm not going to right now because I don't know what I'm going to use that button for down the road. So there we have two that we just made just right now, that quick. See how quick and easy it is? You can cut up a whole bunch of them, and this is something you could sit in front, do in front of the TV if you're watching a movie. I'm going to make up a list and I think do a video with like my 10 favorite things to do while watching TV with hubby or something like that. Because yeah, there are certain things that I don't like to do in front of the TV at all, and there's other things that I do like to do, and I like the things that I don't have to pay 100% attention to. I can focus on the movie as well, or hubby, or puppy or something. So there you have it. That is our dress pattern or clothing pattern flowers, all about for July. Just as easy as that. So I'd like to see you make some. Post the pictures on our Facebook group in Happy Paper People in Facebook, and let's take a look at them, because even though we all make them the same, they all end up looking different. So thanks for joining me today. I invite you to join us on Facebook in the Happy Paper People group. I will be back soon with another tutorial and maybe another all about. Until then, stay curious and do try something new.